What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'll put a link down in the description below. I bought a rental property and I did a whole walkthrough of that house back in March. And of course, I would make the mistake of doing all the work, getting it all done, and then not doing an after video. I apologize up front about the lighting, but I'll flip the camera around. I'll show you what it looks like before, and I'll explain what we're gonna do to it. Okay, so there's the entryway. You come down the stairs here. Like I said, guys, sorry about the lighting. And it's a studio, so it's just one common room. And as you can see, it needs a lot of work. This carpet is really bad. What they did was they actually built the subfloor on top of the concrete just to put the carpet down. So the ceiling seems really low. You walk this way. That was not there before. That was just a little square window like that one over there. I had a company come in and cut in an actual egress window in case there's an emergency so people can get out. So yeah, we'll keep walking this way. As you can see, there's the concrete and there's the subfloor that they put on. So they basically put on lath strips running this way and laid particle board over that. This is plywood here, full closet there. So this room's gonna get new flooring, paint all around. We're gonna replace this little bar countertop with a new one. So we walk this way, here's the kitchen. Kitchen floors are in really good shape. We're leaving those. We're gonna rip out those cabinets because they've got some damage down here and some damage there because they had to replace the water service coming into the house, which comes into there. So we're gonna rip the countertops out, sink out, cabinets, new countertop, new sink. We're gonna leave that backsplash tile. We're gonna flip this fridge around and put the fridge back in that corner to give us a little extra room versus it being right here. The stove will stay in the same spot, and then we're gonna paint everything in here, replace that light. So as you come this way, the bathroom floor is in really good shape. A couple of small drywall repairs. The floor is just dirty from the guys walking around after they did the window, but full-size bathroom, full-size shower. This way, full vanity, full-size shower. We're gonna leave that. We're not gonna touch any of that. We're just gonna caulk everything up, replace the faucet. We're gonna replace the vanity, replace the toilet, paint everything in here, and then if you look, they've got this really crappy drop ceiling in here. So what I might do, what I'm thinking about doing, is taking the drop ceiling out, raising it up just a little bit, and putting cedar planks running in the ceiling, give it a little bit different look, and then raise it up versus just putting drywall up and then having a mud tape, sand, and then paint it. Okay, I was gonna stop the video. Whew. And I decided not to because I started demoing everything. And I'm like, you know, people need to see this if they want to get into real estate, remodeling, home repairs. You always have something that you run into no matter what, whether it's small or big. I'll flip the camera around and I'll show you guys what my thought process was and what I ran into. Okay, so you can see this here. So they cut a part of the floor out here, the subfloor, to put that window in. No big deal. But I was gonna pull all of this out to lower the floor down and actually have it down to the concrete. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. We'll talk about that in a second. But come over here, and this is the reason why they did that. It's because that's the concrete. So what they did was they raised the floor up with plywood to get it even with this. So that's the bad part. I thought I was going to be able to lower this whole thing a couple inches, get a little more height out of the ceiling, but I'm not going to be able to. But the positive is, when I went through here, I'm like, they have had water damage in the past. That's obvious, okay? The gutter is here and there. They've repaired that from what I can tell. But you know, you still get worried. But the good thing is I pulled all this stuff up and it is all dry except for right here where they cut the window. But that's obvious. They had a wet saw going. Nothing you can do about that. But under there is dry. So it seems that there's no more issues. There's no other issues. There's no issues in here. There's no issues in there. When they fixed this part, I'm not sure, but that's all new plywood. And they just put like furring strips underneath there. Now I'm gonna secure that down better, but for the meantime, my point was, since this is dry here, I'm gonna stop here, leave all that good plywood. We'll get that level, we'll fix that later. But leave all that plywood. And since it's gonna just make me feel better, we're gonna remove all this particle board stuff. It'll make me feel better if we get it out of here and get 3/4 plywood down. So what I'm gonna do is lift all this up, pressure treated furring strips. We'll then lay the new plywood down, secure it all down, it'll be nice and strong. But here's where we're at. This is what you guys need to see, because this is the reality of it when you're doing a project, whether it's big or small. But this is all dry under here. So what I'll do too is once I get all this pulled up, I'll go back and I'll spray all of this really, really well with mold spray, just to make sure. But whatever water issues they were having in the past are gone. That little window could have been the issue, but now we're good to go. I'm not seeing any problems. Okay, see what I'm talking about? Here's what you run into. Now, I only took this mask off really quick to talk in the camera, but I'm wearing a full-on respirator. I also have the air scrubber running. But here you go. Here's what you're going to run into when you're remodeling. So obviously this is mold, so we're going to have to come in here, pull this out, cut this all out, spray back there, and put it back together. And I'm sure it's probably on this side too. I haven't got that far yet. Okay, the demo continues. I forgot to record this part because I got into the thick of it towards the end of the day and I forgot to record it, but here's where we're at. So there was cabinets here, countertop here. Obviously there were mold on the cabinets, there was mold on the drywall. I knew that. Pulled this back and this is what I'm left with. Okay, it's looking good. It's dry down here now. We had a little dampness going on here. This was all okay here when I pulled it off. At some point, obviously, you can tell down here, those studs are a little black in some spots. But I will say, that could have been previous water problems for sure, because the gutters have never been cleaned in probably years, which I took care of that. There were no gutter extensions on the downspouts, so they didn't go out away from the house. Just an array of problems that they could have prevented, that they didn't want to prevent for whatever reason. But there was a sink under here, and what they did was the P-trap was obviously leaking, so instead of fixing, they just wrapped in a bunch of electrical tape. Every time you ran the water, it leaked. Now, how long that somebody was living down here doing that, every single day, how many times a day, that water just dripping down onto the floor, I'm assuming some of this is caused by that leak, and over time, it just never dries. The mold forms. They had a piece of plywood down on here, cabinets on top of that. I'm back down to the concrete. So the list goes on and on and on. If I could pull all this off, get back down to the foundation walls, that's what I would do. But I'm confident that it's dry in the spots that I thought it was wet, I guess I would say. That right there, I'm pretty sure is termite damage or some kind of wood-eating bug. Now, I went through, poked holes everywhere, and I don't see any active bugs, so I think the termites were taken care of, but you can see they did some damage. So what I'm gonna do is, these walls are just like, you know, they're not holding anything up. They're basically just, were put there to put the drywall up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut 3 feet around, all the way around, get these bad studs out there that had the damage from the termites at some point, I'm guessing. There's no damage here, no damage on that one, so it seems to be somewhat located right in here. There may be some damage under there, but I'm not gonna pull it off. What I'll do is I'm gonna fill all this in, since there's about a 2.5 inch difference between this floor and that concrete. I'm gonna fill this in with concrete, then go back. I'll put a pressure treated piece all along the bottom. We'll attach these studs in, and we'll try to see how we'll somehow fur these in so they're anchored to the top parts of the studs without having to get too crazy. We'll figure it out though. We had a rotten stair there. I took that out. As you come this way, obviously I did some demo to the floor, pulled up some stuff, that particle board stuff here, to put some pressure treated 2x4s, and then we'll lay a new subfloor down. That window got put in. This whole room all got sprayed with mold control, so we should be good there. And then most of the demo was in here. I mentioned this is the kitchen, so we got all this stuff tore out. We got everything dried up. This project here, I'm going all out. We're gonna do this start to finish from demo to the finished product, so you guys can see every single step along the way. There'll be multiple videos on this instead of just one, and really give you an idea of what it takes to remodel even the smallest space, whether it's a newer home, older home. Older home, you run into a lot more things that you don't account for, and you got to just be prepared for it, mentally, financially, physically, because it does take a toll on you in all aspects of it. So that's it for demo, and we'll start just getting ready to put this thing back together. We'll do a final cleanup, and we'll start putting everything back together. Don't forget, guys, give me that thumbs up, share these videos, subscribe to this channel, drop a comment in the comment section below, and we'll see when we start putting this thing back together.